90 calories, 16 grams of sugar, and 1 gram of protein? What's going on, everybody? It's Dr. Sudicky here, and today I wanted to talk about how easy it is to be confused in the dairy aisle at the grocery store, because there are hyped products everywhere that often do not live up to the healthful hype on the front of the label. There's a lot of push in Canada right now for food label transparency in terms of the ingredients and products, especially added sugar, and that's important. And I saw that in the dairy aisle today. I feel for people, and you can see people struggling as they're looking at different products, and clearly they're trying to make the decision around what's the healthiest choice. So I thought I would walk you through some of the options that I saw in the dairy aisle today as I was rushing home from work looking for a protein source, and what I came across that was not so good and what I came across that seemed reasonable. First things first, in the dairy aisle, you're always going to find non-dairy alternatives, so plant-based sources. So almond milk, for example. I looked in the almond milk section. One of the first things I found was the vanilla almond milk, which came up at only 90 calories per serving, and a serving was 1 full cup if you look at the label. However, the question is always, what's the return on those calories? What am I actually getting? What's the nutrition in that cup of flavored almond milk? Although I'm sure it tastes great, but what's in there that can nourish my body and give me something that's going to be good for me? Well, not much if you look at the label. 90 calories, 16 grams of sugar in those 90 calories, so a lot of added sugar, and only 1 gram of protein. So if you're somebody who's going into the dairy aisle looking for a easy protein source for a snack, for example, at work, and think, okay, I'm gonna find a plant-based option, almond milk, especially if it's flavored, is often really high in sugar, not very high in protein. And if you look at this label, it really comes down to flavored sugar water. I hate to say it, although it's plant-based, there's not much there. 16 grams of sugar, not a lot of protein. Sure, it's infused with some vitamins, but this really is just sugar water. Now, of course, if you look at other options, soy milk, for example, is much higher in protein. And if you get the non-flavored, unsweetened version, it is a fairly reasonable option that's much higher in protein than almond. Just be careful with the flavored options, even if they're plant-based, because they're very high in sugar and not much protein. Now, switching to the dairy aisle, there was this flashy label showing this new Yop high protein vanilla shake that was front of the section, flashy looking label, and you think, okay, maybe this is a better option. For 1 serving of this product, which was the same volume, 250 milliliters or 1 cup, it was 190 calories. So there's an extra 100 calories there, depending on how tight your diet is and how much you might be struggling. If your goals are weight loss, that might make a difference for you. If for some people, if you're in a weight maintenance phase, a 200 calorie snack isn't much at all. But looking deeper, there's also some red flags on the label. So in 1 cup of this Yop protein drink, there were 23 grams of sugar. Now sure, it has 12 grams of protein, but to get those 12 grams of protein, you're also drinking almost 200 liquid calories with 23 grams of sugar added to those liquid calories. So the question is, how full will you be drinking those calories? It's not going to expand your stomach much, so it may not fill you up if it's a snack, and you might feel hungry an hour later and want to consume more food, because for 200 calories, there's a lot more satiating protein sources you can consume. And there's also a lot of added sugar, depending on your health goals and your personal health history, that might make a difference as well. Now, if you look elsewhere in the dairy aisle, you find the Greek yogurt. And again, Greek yogurt comes flavored and non-flavored. Of course, the flavored option, just like the almond milk and the Yop protein drink, had a lot of sugar added. Upwards of 13 to 16, 17 grams of sugar per serving, depending on the product. That's a lot, and it also adds a lot of calories to those snacks. If you look at the plain Greek yogurt that I picked up, it was 80 calories per serving. A serving was 3/4 of a cup, so reasonable. 17 grams of protein and only 80 calories. 4 grams of sugar, which is likely the lactose that was left over from the filtering process. And there's some vitamins infused in it. So vitamin A, vitamin D is always added. But for my health goals, the main thing was the protein. So in 80 calories, I can get 17 grams of protein, not a lot of added sugar. The Greek yogurt is nice and thick, so I can mix it with different things to taste great and also fill me up. Greek yogurt is going to expand your stomach more than sugary liquid calories, so your chances of overeating are arguably less consuming the Greek yogurt as opposed to those sugary liquid calories. Especially if you add things to it. If you're gonna add something that's high in fiber, or even some extra fibrous blueberries or raspberries, although they're not crazy high in fiber, they're still gonna take up volume. They're still fairly low in calories. They're still gonna have less sugar than the 23 grams of added sugar in the other dairy option, and it's delicious. So the take-home message of today's video is read food labels. There really is a lot of good information in them. And try not to always take for face value what's on the front of the pack, including in the dairy aisle. Although it says high in protein, it may also be loaded with sugar and quite high in calories. And if it's a liquid source of calories and sugar, it may leave you still feeling hungry, and it may leave you feeling like you need to continue eating afterwards, as opposed to a lower sugar dairy source that's much higher in protein, that's more likely to fill you up, that's more likely to reduce your chances of overeating later in the day. So if you liked today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you get notified every time I post a new video.